People cry, not because they're weak. It's because they've been strong for too long.
If you take a man and give him a life shielded from problems that he never has any to face, I guarantee you he's terrible at being a man. The best men in the world have gone through.
When did you start like regularly smoking?
Since I was like 10 years old. When you're a kid, your mother gives you liquor and marijuana for you, make you think that you're gonna go to sleep or something. Yeah.
No.
My mother was alcoholic and stuff.
Damn.
My father was an alcoholic. Mean drunk. Come home hammered, looking to wail on somebody. So I'd provoke him so he wouldn't go after my mother and little brother. The interesting nights were when he wore his rings.
He used to just put a wrench, a stick, and a belt on the table. Just say choose.
I gotta go with the belt there, Vanna.
I used to go with the wrench.
Why the wrench?
That's why.
Your foster father.
Oh wait, it's my turn, right? I never eaten frozen yogurt. Never had a pet pony. Never got nothing from Santa Claus. Never relied on anyone for protection before. Hell, I don't think I've ever relied on anyone for anything.
Daryl.
Never sung out in front of a big group out in public like everything was fun, like everything was a big game. I sure as hell never cut my wrist looking for attention.
But my mom's boyfriend, I'll never forget this guy. When he heard the door, it startled him, so here's what he did. He looked over his left shoulder. Here's Chad Varga. I'm standing there, cut off white t-shirt, and I'm standing there at 14, and he looked at me. When he realized it was just a 14-year-old kid, this looked like as if to say, what are you gonna do, big fella? And he was happy because it wasn't a neighbor. He wasn't getting busted for domestic. So what he did is he finished what he was doing. I watched him hit my mom in the face.
Because when you're watching your mom go through horrific things, and I was never sheltered, it wasn't like my mom kept me from like my soon-to-be stepdad got murdered. It wasn't like she said, oh, we gotta keep this from David. People tried to kill him several times before they finally. And we continued going to this man's house. They attempted to kill him, and we were going there almost every weekend. I'm like, Mom, this just wasn't your life. I was a young kid watching you go through this. I was living it with you, and I didn't have the brain to absorb the adult life that you put my childlike brain in.
And I remember, I'm serious, man, I hit him as hard as I could. I grabbed a lamp off the table, I hit him across the shoulder. He jumped up, he grabbed me, and he threw me against the wall, and my elbow dented the drywall. And I stood up, and this guy worked construction, right? He had steel toe metal boots on. When he kicked me, I thought he broke my leg. It was so much pain. I fell to the ground, and let me give you the visual. First thing I did was cover my face, and this guy started pounding me in my ribs, and I was taking them pretty good. Eventually, I couldn't breathe.
It took several years for me to figure out who the devil was, and the devil was my father.
He slammed the door. He used to tell me, Chad, you're worthless. My whole life, people looked at me and they said, you're gonna be this because of what you're growing up in. And that night, laying in that bed, I made a decision at 14 years old that I wasn't gonna get caught up like the other kids. All these people, you get around successful people, guess what you find? There's a DNA strand in them that's different. There's something in them, it's insatiable. And what it says is nothing is gonna keep me from reaching my dream.
You're what, 14, 15 years old? 17 years of age.
And any other skills besides surfing?
Like what, like singing and dancing?
Yeah.
No, not me, man. I just surf.
Loser.
But when I went to the hospital, the people that were there, they're up there because their kids are dead too. I had to back then. I had to get hurt. I couldn't handle it at all. You have to go. You understand me? Thank you.
Sir, Mike, I'm really sorry you're going through this.
Okay.
I'm sorry if we brought up.
Okay. I gotta grow up. It's tough. No. Goddamn man. Stop crying.
You were allowed to cry, Mike.
Well, E.T., your daddy wasn't in your life. Your mom was a teenage mother.
I leave everything I have. My mom take care of me and my two brothers alone, you know. Now, Dad, you proud of me, Dad. You proud of me.
Game was over. When I go in the locker room, we got a shower. Coach Halawicki goes like this. He said, fellas, no practice tomorrow. All my buddies on my team who raised their hand and said they were going to be successful, go to college, play pro ball, those guys start nudging each other and they're excited because what it meant is they could go out, they could party, they could drink a little bit, hit the blunt. Turned around and I said, no, I said, I got some work to do. And I kept walking. You know what I did that night? I went home, no dad telling me to do it. And I went on a 3-mile jog. Somebody looked at me and said, why would you run 3 miles after playing a game? Do you know why I ran 3 miles? My dream was to be the first in my family to go to college, play pro basketball, yes. But you know what my real dream was? One day have a family and give them a life that I never had growing up. My buddies in school, they started laughing at me, making fun of me, nudging me a little bit, telling me it was never gonna happen. And here's one thing you can count on. Anytime you have a dream in your life, the first thing you can count on is for somebody to come along and tell you what you can't do and what you're incapable of.
I just need you to identify what your pain is. And then I need you to ask yourself what are you gonna let your pain break? Look, I'm not the only person who's been homeless, but a lot of guys who are homeless didn't turn into this.
He tells me, you know, kid, never give up. Find a way, because that's what winners do.
He was a little teeny small egg. He wasn't very impressive. Glenn was the big egg, Cody was a small egg. He can't help it. He's, that's just the way he is. He never really knew his father.
Say, Dwayne, I'm sad. Dude, that's a part of life. You think I don't go through depression sometimes? You think I don't get sad sometimes? You think I don't just feel wore out and burnt plumb down to the bottom of my soul? We're not men because we face the battle and we get immediately victory every time a battle comes up. We're men because we face the battle and we stay in the battle when we feel like we're losing and we feel like we're getting beat up.
I took my pain and turned it into a career. I took my pain and turned it into a 4-year degree. I took my pain and turned it into a master's degree. I took my pain and turned it into a PhD. Listen to me, I cannot stop what happens to me, but I can dictate how I respond.
Some young kid that was tortured from my family, from my father. And I come in, when my mom left my father, we moved to Brazil, Indiana. My mom drives up and I'm thinking I'm gonna get some pity party from my grandparents. And Sergeant Jack looked at me, man, like I was a brand new recruit coming off the bus, man. He didn't give a fuck about what my dad did to me. He was like, look, young man, there's a lot of kids out there who live like you do, who have gone through what you've gone through. Maybe not as bad, but you're not the only one. And my grass needs to be cut. My cars need to be cleaned. The yard needs to be raked. He taught me a lot of lessons within the lesson of no one really gives a. You have to continue to live your life, or you can choose to be doomed and become a statistic. Like a lot of young people who fall back on their childhood when their childhood wasn't good.
But we stay in there and we keep fighting and we plant our feet and we say, until death do I part, this is me and I will fight this battle, regardless of what the battle is.
Time is precious. Life is not just the passing of time. Life is a collection of experiences, their frequency and their intensity. Life is not just watching the clock tick away. When my friend Mark died at age 44, someone says, that's young to die. But what if he lived 4 lifetimes in one? It might not be too young. Whatever the span of your life turns out to be, here's what you want to fill it up with: experiences and the intensity of those experiences.
And so one of the things that happens when you're broke is that you bet on stuff and then it doesn't work and people feel like they're back at zero, but you're not back at zero. You're at where you were plus 1 experience, plus 2 experiences, plus 3 experiences, plus 4 experiences. But when you have plus 18 experiences, all of a sudden, boop, you level up 1.
I'm telling you, quit moping, quit whining, get up and keep going. The bell will ring on this particular fight that you're in, whatever it may be. The bell will ring and that fight will be over. None of them last forever. None of them last forever.
Because you're sad, now you're gonna make a bunch of bad decisions because you're sad? No, it doesn't work like that. You're sad, okay. You get emotional sometimes? Okay, got it. Now, get control of your emotions and carry on with your life.
Being tired is part of fighting. Go find one MMA fighter, one boxer, one combatant of any kind who's never tired, who never gets tired, who doesn't get so exhausted in the ring that he's just moving on guts alone. That's all he's got left is his guts.
Because if you started diets and you failed, and you started working out and you failed, if you just make it longer every time before you fail, you're still making progress and you're still doing something that everyone else isn't doing. Yeah. And that is the biggest meta indicator that you possibly can, is if because everyone sucks. Like, so many people are mediocre. Like, half of the United States is in debt. They don't even have they're negative net worth. Just saying different than that, the bar isn't high.
But take pride in the fact that you're one of the chosen few who's been picked to stand in the doorway and take the beating so the loved ones behind you don't have to. Smile in the middle of that fight. Smile through those bruises. Smile through that swollen face. Smile through the blood.
Devil really was me. No one's gonna come back and say, hey man, I apologize. Maybe someone does. Very few people will. I had to confront him. And when I confronted the devil, so what I thought was the devil, I realized that I was the true devil. I was the one holding me back. I was the one looking for the scapegoat. It's on me. My dad's f***ed up, my mom's f***ed up, the people around me are f***ed up. They're not gonna save you. You gotta save yourself, my friend. That's when all that reality hit me. I was like, man, this rest of your life is gonna, it is gonna, not because you're gonna be a loser, but because you're gonna finally start to win. And winning is not easy, my friend.
I told you, I didn't get a new daddy. I didn't get a new mama. What changed? I changed. And I stopped being a victim. I stopped saying I've got to wait for good things to happen to me. And I said, I'm going to grind. I'm going to fight. I'm going to work. I'm going to press toward. I'm going to do everything in my power to become a victor and not a victim.
I don't look down on those moments. You take those moments, you make the best of them because they're life lessons. It's that simple. You're saying it's positive, but it's really just simplicity that's real. It's real.
It's real, and it's your life experience, and it's your life's lessons.
I lost everything twice. I don't know if you've ever lost everything before, but I've been bottomed out twice. Been through some walls up in here, man. I'm just trying to tell you, man, God is really with you. You have a great life in front of you, but your great life is in front of you. It's not behind you.
If you face your fears, guys, you will realize it's not that big. And once you face it, you go, oh my God, man, I spent all this time running from it. It was so small.
The bigger the wall that you have to get through is, as soon as you get past that one big wall, you then can use that wall as the evidence for why you can jump over the next wall, because that will be the biggest one.
You face your fears, you become the person you want to be. You run from your fears, you're not living. You're alive, but you're not taking the freedom. You're not running the day. The day's running you. You always be the f***ing servant, not the master, guys.
Hard times create hard men. Hard men create soft times. Soft times create soft men. Soft men create hard times. We are now around soft men and hard times.
Like, it feels like hell. It feels like to do the thing, to fail, to not feel like anybody cares about you, to not even know that there's going to be glory in retrospect.
Yeah.
It feels despondent and destitute and sad and alone, and I get it.
Success is not, a marathon of life with just ups. Success is formulated through failures, falling down and getting back up. That's what creates the champion. Success does not define us. We define the success.
I gotta do something. I'm trying to save my fucking life. Okay, no one else is gonna save my life, right? If I just sit here and diddle around, what am I gonna have? Nothing.
When you were born, you are unique. Your DNA has never occurred in the history of the universe, going back billions of years. Your life experience with your parents and everything that you experience in your early years going on up is unique. It's yours. You are one of a kind, right? That is your source of power. To waste that is just the worst thing you can do in your life. And what the power is finding that uniqueness. What makes you you, and how you can mine that, and how you can go deep into it and use that to create a career path.
There's a lot of men struggling right now. There's a lot of men, if I talk about it a lot, that if you look at the stats around suicidality in the UK, the thing that's most likely to kill someone between the age of 18 and 40 is themselves, for a man.
Mama sent me a video link of a guy, and he was talking about in this country, the numbers of when it comes to suicides, when it comes to homelessness, when it comes to prisons, the numbers of men in these situations are astronomically higher than women. Young men, especially, it's pandemic around the world, I think, but young men, especially in this country, who are just feeling isolated and alone. It's a really bad situation in this country.
What advice would you have for young men that are feeling a little lost in the modern world?
You have to be comfortable with who you are and with your masculinity. The word masculine has now got like this negative connotation around it, which is terrible.
That is destroying the young men in this country. And nobody can destroy you if you won't let them. Don't let them.
The only insults that hurt are the ones we believe.
You are a man. Stand up and be a man. Make the hard decisions, make the sacrifices, make the unpopular decisions, and become comfortable in your own skin.
You've got this testosterone that's roaring through you. You're competitive, you're ambitious, you have goals, you have this energy, you want to assert yourself, but it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. You're not supposed to be like that, you know? And the culture isn't about, there's no virtue in masculinity.
You know, so men are clearly struggling in some capacity with purpose or meaning or something. But I almost feel like, you know, a lot of these sort of toxic influences of what a man should be have now emerged to offer answers, but I doubt those toxic influences. And I say there's got to be another role model, another sort of blueprint for what it is to show up as a man.
Do we really not know? Do we really not know what it is to be a good man? And I would go so far as to say to be a good human being, right?
What does a man do?
Fellas, life is hard. The Bible says man's days are few and full of trouble. All right, ever since mankind fell in the garden, we were told that we would eat out of a sorrow of the ground, the sweat of our brow, and the ground would bring forth thistles. And so it's just the nature of it.
When you're 25, you can be an idiot. It's no problem. Even when you're out in a job search, it's like, well, you don't have any experience and you're kind of clueless. It's, yeah, you're young, you know, it's no problem. That's what young people are like, but they're full of potential. Okay, well, now you're the same person at 30. It's like people aren't so thrilled about you at that point. It's like, what the hell have you been doing for the last 10 years? Well, I'm just as clueless as I was when I was 22. It's, yeah, but you're not 22. You're an old infant, right? And that's an ugly thing, an old infant. Choose your damn sacrifice, because the sacrifice is inevitable.
To get anything of value, you have to sacrifice. Do you know that the harder thing to do and the right thing to do are usually the same thing? Nothing that has meaning is easy. Easy doesn't enter into grown-up life.
The problem with being a child is that all you are is potential, and it's really low resolution. You could be anything, but you're not anything. So then you go and you adopt an apprenticeship, roughly speaking, and then you become something. And when you're something, that makes the world open up to you again. You know, like if you're a really good plumber, then you end up being far more than a plumber, right? You end up being a good employer. So I'm not putting plumbers down. It's like more power to plumbers. They've saved more lives than doctors. Hygiene, right? So, you know, if you're a really good plumber, well, then you have some employees, you run a business, you train some other people, you enlarge their lives. You're kind of a pillar of the community. You have your family. Once you pass through that narrow training period, then you can come out the other end with a bunch of new possibility at hand.
A man provides, and he does it even when he's not appreciated or respected or even loved. He simply bears up, and he does it because he's a man.
Got a roof over your head. Yes, sir. Got you eat every day. Yes, sir. Clothes on your back. Yes, sir. Why you think that is? So it's my job. It's my responsibility. A man is supposed to take care of his family. You live in my house, fill your belly with my food, put your behind on my bed because you're my son. It's my duty to take care of you. I owe a responsibility to you.
When you have children, you always have family. They will always be your priority, your responsibility.
Like, when do you become a man? You become a man when you become responsible for other people. And part of that is taking accountability.
If you take a man and give him a life shielded from problems that he never has any to face, I guarantee you he's terrible at being a man. The best men in the world have gone through shit. That's why women love scars, because it didn't kill you. That's the whole point of it, right?
I go through life just like you do, okay? I have battles just like you do. I stand between my family and the world, just like you do. And I take the beatings so they don't have to, just like you do. And so we stand in the gap and we pay the price. The difference is, how do you look? How do you approach it? How do you deal with it? And then what do you do about it? You drink about it. You sleep around about it. You get mad and get in fights about it. You just hang around, just turn the world out, just zombie about it, fry yourself with marijuana about it.
The question was, what's the problem for the average man today? What's the biggest problem? I think there's a whole host of problems. But what you have to do is frame it inside of your mind and understand that all of those problems are going to allow you, give you the fuel and the unlimited motivation that you need to become a successful and beautiful individual if you frame it in the right way. So the best thing you can do as a man is look and go, okay, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard. I feel negative because these are all so difficult. I'm struggling with X, Y, Z. Let me internalize all of that and turn it into a superpower. Let me become genuinely uncomfortable with my situation in life and go and fix things.
My idea of masculinity growing up was a man who was in control of himself, who wasn't mean, wasn't pushing people around, who was decent, who treated women well.
Aggression. Aggression is a masculine trait. Is it good if I'm walking into a restaurant pushing the hostess out of my way? Of course, that's terrible. It's terrible. If you take any trait and you take it to an extreme, masculine or feminine or otherwise, take it to an extreme, it's going to be a problem.
You don't need to put other people down to make yourself feel better. So we have to redefine these qualities.
Is it bad to be hyper competitive? You screw people over and you hurt your health because you want to win in this particular category? Is that bad? Yes, it is. Does that mean we have people that are not competitive at all and they don't care if they win or lose? No, that's not good either.
Your aggression, your assertiveness, your testosterone, it's a good thing.
Right, being stoic, being unemotional. Is it good to have no emotions whatsoever? No, that's called a sociopath. We, as people, should be balanced. We have to be attuned to the feedback that we're getting.
Because men are very confused. So now it's very difficult because you're being told that all these things that you feel naturally are negative. They're only negative if you can't control them. All of my aggression, all of that testosterone, I poured into my books. Finding ways to channel your aggressive tendencies is a positive way of being a man. You have to find whatever that is.
My boss says, hey, Jocko, you're leaving early again? Okay, I need to be attuned enough to say, yeah. We're talking to our wife, and she says, you're not going to be home for dinner again tonight for the 9th night in a row that you're going to stay late at work? You need to be paying attention enough to say, oh yeah, guess what? I'm a little too focused on work right now. If I focus 100% on my job, I'm going to lose my family. If I focus 100% on my family, I'm going to lose my job. We as humans are supposed to be balanced.
So you have to be smart, and you have to be in control of yourself, and you have to be disciplined. But let's just add discipline to one of those other masculine virtues. Good sides of being a man and being masculine.
Discipline is absolutely essential for success. I don't train because I want to get bigger. I train every day because it is difficult to train every day. It hurts. I don't want to. I wake up and I'm busy. I have other things to do. I don't feel like doing it. So I force myself to do it 7 days a week, 365 days a year, so that I know I'm the kind of person who can do what he doesn't want to do when it needs to be done. I am that man. And it is more of a mental exercise than a physical exercise at this point. How can you ever outcompete me if I can force myself to do the things I don't want to do and you cannot?
For some of you, when your favorite show come on, you can make sacrifices on Sunday when ain't nothing going on. But when your favorite show comes on Monday, bam, some of you focus until the phone ring, and then you like, I gotta answer it. If I don't answer the phone, I'm gonna die.
You get to look yourself in the mirror and ask hard and tough questions. What am I doing every single day with my life? Creating obstacles, challenges, and distractions for myself.
How the fuck you can have discipline when you don't know where to put that shit? You gotta have shit in order. Plans, goals, destinies, journeys. Is you're organizing your mind so you can put that discipline. Why do you fall off the fucking wagon? Why can't I continue with this routine? It's because maybe it's your kids, maybe it's your wife, maybe it's your job, and it's all just stuffed in your fucking brain, organized in these nice shelves. Like you look in the garage, it's all fucking a nice organized militant garage. Hey, where are my dumbbells? Right there. A lot of people whose brain, hey, where's my dumbbells? Let me look. They're fucking throwing shit. They're looking through totes. They're all fucked up. So where am I gonna put discipline in that mind if I can't find other shit? You gotta be able to find all these different things in your mind. I can put discipline right there. I can put consistency right there. I can put all these things right there in that spot. So that's what I'm talking about. If your life is not organized, and your life being everything around you, because it takes one little fucked up piece of an outside interference to clutter your whole mind. Your mind has to always be clear. So then discipline's in there, organization, everything is in this right spot. So when I wake up, I'm ready to go.
That most men live lives of quiet desperation. It's one of my favorite quotes ever because it's true. And I've been that guy.
Oh my God.
You're just in this world where you just can't wait to just run away. Every young person thinks they're a loser. I didn't know I wasn't a loser until I started winning.
What are you?
26.
And you don't know
where I'm going, what I'm doing, and I'm not disciplined.
You've got to sit down, like I had to do, around your age, and think about what the do you want to be? What do you want to do? How does that look like? Because how do you have discipline when you don't know where to put that?
Of course you don't have it all together. You're not supposed to have it all together. You're not expected to have it all together. Anybody looks at you at 26, 27, 28 years old and says, hey man, what's wrong with you? How come you don't have everything figured out? They're a fool.
The opportunity takes place usually when you're young and you don't have any responsibility. That's when you have your options. Well, your options are severely limited the more you gather responsibilities.
If you are 22 years old, you are entering, first of all, some of the greatest years of your life, because you have to understand, this next 5-year window is when you don't go practical and safe. This is not the time to get the job mom wanted you to. What you should do is go and travel and learn. Go and start that business that you've always wanted. This is the time to be massively risked.
I believe 18 to 22 is your time to grind. Like really grind, put your head down, work as hard as you can. You're young, you're healthy, you have so much energy. And then when you start to get a little older and you figure it out because of the hours that you've put in, then you can start to work a bit smarter and pull off the reins a little bit.
Go home, shut your phone off, shut the fucking TVs off, shut the world off, and tune into you.
If I had to quit everything now and struggle the way I struggled as a stand-up comedian, it would never work. But the only way I could be this person now is if I took that chance when I was 21, dead broke and had my cars repossessed and all that stuff. That's the only way you ever get where you want to go. You have to take a path that's dangerous.
Young people don't worry about the future. Older people worry for the future. Future is the opportunity for everybody because we have nothing to lose. Right? This is what I tell myself 18 years ago. 18 years ago, we did not have money, so we have no money to lose. We don't have technology. We have no technology to lose. Don't worry about the future. Prepare for the future. Make your own future.
Safe path leaves you stuck in quiet desperation. Almost every time. It's hell.
You're always going to need to push yourself. No one's coming to push you. No one's coming to tell you to turn the TV off. No one's coming to tell you to get out the door and exercise. Nobody's coming to write the business plan for you. It's up to you. And because you're only ever gonna do the thing that feels good right now, you're not gonna make your dreams come true. You're just not. We're not wired that way. You gotta push yourself.
So now it's very difficult because you're being told that all these things that you feel naturally are negative. Only negative if you can't control them. You have to see who you are and see the virtue in it and see the power in that.
Now is the time to take risk. You don't have kids, but as you get older, your obligations increase. And once you have a family, you start taking risk not just for yourself, but for your family as well. It gets much harder to do things that might not work out.
You become a man. When you get a driver's license, like what do we do? You're 16, we give you a driver's license. Okay, well, like you get a job? Like when do you become a man? You become a man when you become responsible for other people.
I think your 20s matter big time.
Oh my God, yeah.
I think you better get your ass after it, okay? Disregard anybody who tells you your 20s don't matter. That's just absolutely not true.
Those are the formative years. You become really who you are.
They're the big years.
You are successful, new to you. You are not successful, new to you. So what do you worry about?
This is why I always tell the people, not because one thing fall down, you just give up. Never give up, never give up. One day you will succeed. Whatever you want to do, I always tell the students, whatever you do when you're young, do it.
Find something. Find a thing that you genuinely enjoy, because getting good at things you genuinely enjoy is extremely beneficial for young people. I wasn't really a loser. I just was someone who was like in a fucked up situation. But you could channel all that energy that you have as a young person into something and get better at it. And then all of a sudden people admired me.
The effort that I put into this would be really hard for me to put into something I didn't love. So if I hadn't gone for it, which would be for me back in college, drinking, partying, doing all the things and being like, you know what, I'm going to stop this. My friends go out, I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to wake up early, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm just going to drop out of school and I'm going to travel and I'm going to try and get sponsors and I'm going to try and win shows. I'm going to do all this and I'm going to take every risk I can. And I didn't even think about it. You know, when you're young, luckily you're at the greatest opportunity in your life to take risk and to fail. And then you're like, well, I'm 24 now. I can just go restart.
What are the things that are most important in life? Health, right? Making sure that you take care of yourself and keep yourself in good shape, loving friends and family. And then the third is maybe a little more amorphous, but it is something that you're excited about for the future. I mean, the world is a heavy place. The way that we navigate it is that we have things that we're looking forward to.
Don't waste your time. Do you know that everybody alive gets exactly the same amount of time we get all there is? It's what we do with it that makes the difference.
I'm 35 years old. 30 more years, I'll be 65. We don't have no more influence. We can't do nothing much at 65. Your wife will tell you that. Did you know I'll be 65 in 30 more years? In those 30 years, I have to sleep 9 years. I don't have 30 years of daylight. All my traveling, probably 4 years of traveling in the next 30 years, about 9 years of sleeping, television, movies, entertainment, about 3 years of entertainment. Out of 30 years, I might have about 16 years to be productive. So it's how we can all break individual lives down. What am I going to do in the next 16 years? What's the best thing I can do? Get ready to meet God.
Don't waste your life. Set your goals high. Quit thinking about what's wrong. Start thinking what's right. Love a little more, hate a little less. You have no idea what you're capable of doing. Make up your mind today, you're going to figure it out.
If I didn't like the results I was getting in my life, that I was going to have to change me because they were my results. And he said, if you're going to change you, you're going to have to find out something about yourself. So I started to study myself. I found most people don't know who they are. They really don't. To study that and look for the answer, they'll find it.
Don't worry about the things the other people worry about. Worry about things you worry about. Everybody have too many things to worry about. If you do not worry about yourself, you worry too much about the world.
I can't listen to people because even my parents didn't want me to do martial arts. They didn't want me to fight. They didn't want me to do stand-up. There's like, you have to understand like who you are.
Don't let shit hold you back. Not a relationship, not a friendship. I ain't telling you to go against your parents, but not even them. Whatever you see fit for your future, chase that shit and grind and make that shit happen. Because at the end of the day, you got to worry about you being happy.
You won't find confidence in yourself if you're so busy trying to figure out what everybody around you thinks you ought to be and then match that, because you're not going to make people around you happy. I want to ask you a question, all right? What makes you uniquely you? I think a lot of times folks, especially young folks who I tend to empathize with and speak to more often, they're not comfortable because they're going along with the society that's around them and they're trying to fit in the framework. And you can't be comfortable with yourself if you don't know who yourself is. You can't know who yourself is if you don't stop looking at how everybody around you is, and start looking at what makes you comfortable and what makes you uniquely you.
Don't be a damn victim. Of course you're a victim. Jesus, obviously.
Life's not fair, it never was, it isn't now, and it won't ever be. Do not fall into the trap, the entitlement trap, of feeling like you're a victim.
We live in a backwards culture where victim mentality is celebrated, but that shit will eventually keep you from getting the life you actually want.
You know what's so funny? We want people to make guarantees to us, but we're not willing to make guarantees to ourselves. The reason why I'm not successful is because of my boss. Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and said, I'm not getting up on time. I'm not going to work on time. I'm not putting in 120% when I'm at work.
When you choose to be one of these victims who thinks there's an Olympics out there for the saddest motherfucking story, that means you have no room to move forward.
You know, don't fucking wait around and wait for someone to hand deliver something. Go make it happen. You know, the fish don't just jump in the boat. If you want to go catch them, go catch them. You know, throw that line in the water and go do some work. And if it doesn't work that day, do it again the next day. Part of it, that noble mentality is, you know, fuck your tired body, fuck that unmotivated mind, and get out there and do it anyway.
Well, I'm oppressed. It's like, yeah, you are. And well, I'm oppressed too. Yeah, you're also oppressed. And maybe I'm even oppressing you being part of this other marginalized group, but at least we share our oppression. Well, I'm also oppressed. Well, so am I. I'm oppressed too. You have a reason to be? Yes. You have lots of reasons to be. God, there's reasons to be resentful about your existence. Everyone you know is going to die. You know, you too. And there's going to be a fair bit of pain along the way, and lots of it's going to be unfair. It's like, yeah, no wonder you're resentful.
I want you to stop playing the victim. You are not the victim. You decided that those are your friends. You decided that those are the people that you want to spend time with. You decided this is what you wanted to do with your day. When you get invited to places, doesn't mean you have to show up, especially if you know what your experience is going to be like with these people.
You changed. You stopped being you. You let people stick a finger in your face and tell you you're no good. And when things got hard, you started looking for something to blame, like a big shadow. Let me tell you something you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place, and I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is gonna hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. Now, if you know what you're worth, now go out and get what you're worth. But you gotta be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that.
You have no room for dreams. You have no room for aspirations. You have no room for the actions that lead to those aspirations because you're so busy filling your mind with the bad shit that's happened to you already in life that you have zero chance moving forward. Explain how that makes sense. You get one or the other. You can look forward or you can look backwards, but you can't look both ways at the same motherfucking time. And so many of you guys have got enamored and sucked into this victim culture where we brag about the bad shit that's happened to us and we talk about all this help we need over here and how flawed we are. Motherfucker, we're all flawed. You don't think every motherfucker out there has a sad story of some sort? Everybody has hard shit they gotta go through.
Yes! Right! Exactly! So what do you do about that? Well, there's a deep idea in the West too. It's like, pick up your damn suffering and bear it. And try to be a good person so you don't make it worse.
There's not a single motherfucking successful person on this planet that hasn't gone through their version of really fucking hard shit. So what's it gonna be, man? Are you gonna sit there for the rest of your fucking life and talk about all the hard shit that's happened? Because motherfucker, I got a list a mile long. Learn what you need to learn from the things that have happened to you and move the fuck on. This is why you're not progressing. You're so enamored by the instant gratification of likes and shares and attention that you get for telling your sad story, and that doesn't leave any room for you to actually plan out, visualize, think about the great shit in life that you could be creating because you're too busy worried and focused on shit that you can't change.
You always want to blame other people. You want to hold other people to the fire, but you're not holding yourself to the fire. So what my father wasn't in my life. The truth of the matter is he ain't never come into my life. So what, I'm gonna wait for the rest of my life for my man to come?
Get yourself together. Transcend your suffering. See if you can be some kind of hero. Make the suffering in the world less. Well, that's the way forward as far as I can tell, if there is any way forward. And that's what's under assault by the postmodernists. So look out, because they know exactly what they're doing, and they know exactly why they're doing it.
Happiness is an emotional response to an outcome. If I win, I will be happy. If I don't, I won't. It's an if-then, cause and effect, quid pro quo standard that we cannot sustain because we immediately raise it every time we attain it. You see, happiness demands a certain outcome. It is result reliant. And I say if happiness is what you're after, then you're going to be let down frequently and you're going to be unhappy much of your time.
This modern obsession with happiness is the number one problem with the world. Because I really don't believe humans were ever evolved to be happy. Were we? Where? Tell me. You're the expert, bro. Where did it come? Where did it come in our timeline that we were supposed to be happy all the time?
No, I agree with you. I don't think happiness is the goal. I think fulfillment is. And I think following your purpose and all the way through is what's going to give you fulfillment. I think that's the highest thing in life. I don't put too much stock in happiness. Contentment, maybe.
The smarter you are, the more you know. Happiness is a trap. It can't last forever. Let's say you meet the love of your life. Well, it's still going to end. It's inevitable, whether by the slow pull of a disease or the shock of loose footing on a hiking trail, whether it be the corrosion of two personalities that reshape each other until they're incompatible, or maybe the old stranger in a bar who says the things that need to be said to that person that night. The point is, happiness always ends. Best case scenario, think about this. Best case is that you die at the same time.
Your brain is not always on your side when it comes to creating happiness, but also what we can do to counter this. And it's not going to be by just positive thinking. This takes positive action.
Here's the reality of the world, people. If you're watching this, you may not know this, so sit down and pay attention. Yin and yang, old Chinese philosophy, joy and pain, light and dark. There is no up without down. There's no such thing as permanent happiness, because then it's not happiness, is it? You only feel happiness because you felt sad. You need the polarity to even experience it. There's going to be times you feel a bit pissed off. And then that goes down to, then there's two types of people. The people who pull themselves up by the bootstraps, like you said, who think, well, I'm unhappy about my current situation, so what I'm going to do is change it. Or the people who go, I'm unhappy, it's not my fault, I call it a disease, I'm depressed, I'm overweight, what do? I say, go to the gym. They go, I can't because I'm depressed. I was like, you think you're fat because you're depressed. The reality is you're depressed because you're fat. You got the wrong way around. It's simply a situational feeling that's telling you you're unhappy with your situation, or you're unhappy with certain circumstances, and you need to change it. That's all it is. It's an evolutionary mechanism to prevent you living a life that humans are not meant to live.
Joy, though. Joy is a different thing. It's something else. Joy is not a choice. It's not a response to some result. It's a constant. Joy is the feeling that we have from doing what we are fashioned to do, no matter the outcome. Now, personally, as an actor, I started enjoying my work and literally being more happy when I stopped trying to make the daily labor a means to a certain end.
Women have this mindset where people expect women to be happy. Women need to be happy. But as a man, you have a burden of performance. As a man, you shouldn't be waking up going, how do I get happy? As a man, you wake up and say, okay, how do I perform? You know, and happiness will come at the end of the performance anyway. But if your number one goal as a man, if your number one mission in life is just to be happy, that's going to be an extremely vaporous existence, and you're not going to be a man of substance. The men of substance out there are not necessarily happy people. Mike Tyson wasn't happy when he was smashing people's faces in. That's not how you get there. You don't get there being happy. It's not. It's just a complete, the whole mindset, the whole idea that, oh, we all need to be happy all the time is the reason you have men on the streets taking drugs, looking for a quick fix because they don't want to do any real work to get any genuine fulfillment. So they end up shooting drugs, like we were talking about earlier, running around being fools.
Yeah,
and that's what happens.
Terrified of pain. There's never been, maybe this is always the case, but it just skipped a generation where the messaging should be like, oh, you're in pain, that's good, that's probably a sign you need to fix something.
Absolutely.
You don't run from the pain, like, well, you're in pain because you're broke. Okay, that's just your body's telling you to go work, to go work harder because you don't like being broke.
Let's say that there's someone listening who resonates with what you're talking about. You know, they've been through trauma, they've been through hard times, but they keep breaking promises to themselves and they're struggling to get off the couch and they're having a pity party. How can they stop feeling sorry for themselves?
You have to want it. You have to want to be better. And it starts off with, you have to have pride in yourself. You have to have pride in yourself. You have to have, there's something about you, whether it's your last name, whether it's just the smallest thing, you have to be proud of yourself. And if you have no pride in yourself, I can't give it to you.
Because you're always going to compromise. You're always going to fold.
Always.
Suck it up and you find a way to persevere and work your way around it, because guess what? You ain't the only person in the world that's going through stuff. The world is filled with people who've got excuses about why they're being held back. And by the way, those things will be valid, but nobody is going to come and help you just because you're crying about how you're being treated unfairly. You have to show that you have the intestinal resolve to overcome.
If you blame other people and you blame other things, you're not going to take any action. So get control of yourself. Come up with a plan and take action daily.
Most people don't have a plan. And without a plan of your own life, you become the plan of someone else's life.
I came in this world by myself, and when I die, I'm going to be the only one in that coffin. And so really all I guess that matters is me, I guess.
Like you're born, you lift the weight up. It feels light at first. And as you keep going, it gets harder and harder and harder. You're like, God damn, man. I'm so glad I believed in myself. I'm so glad I didn't sell myself short, because at the end of the day, if you don't believe in yourself, what can you ever expect to? You guys must be the now of what you want to be later.
Well, I believe that you have to build belief. Confidence comes from the thing that you built. You must build belief. You must build confidence. You have to build a person that can withstand the pressures of whatever they're going to be dealing with in life.
I spent over 12 years in prison, and it wasn't the hard part, wasn't going to prison, it was getting out and trying to be part of society again.
Everybody is awful these days. If it was me dying on the sidewalk, you'd walk right over me. I pass you every day and you don't notice me.
Most people, all they care about is themselves. You could be standing there on the corner bleeding and people just drive by you. And they wouldn't want no part of it. They wouldn't want no part of the drama.
I go to fill out applications for a job and stuff. They look at me, you know, I'm not looking presentable, and then we'll call you, leave a number. But how can I leave a number when I don't have a phone?
I'm trying to get back into society, but I can't get back in. I just can't get back in. They don't want to let you.
You better have a part about you that's tough, a part about you that can break down situations and get better, and break down situations very quickly within some trauma in your life, some devastation in your life, because it's going to come. The devastation, the trauma is going to come, and you can't allow that to become a Jersey barrier. It can't be a Jersey barrier. It has to be something that you can maneuver through very quickly and move forward. That takes a lot of toughness.
And people just look at you like you some kind of little bum, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I have had people to walk past me and say, get a job, bum. And I said, wait a minute, I'm not a bum, I'm a human being. And
we are humans. But then again, if you always think that we're humans, you will always just be a human and always make the same fucking mistakes. This world we live in is tough. It's tough. It will beat you down. The world and the life that we live in is the ultimate competitor. It will try to take you out. It will find your weakness and it will fucking just hammer you.
And that's the thing you have to realize. Everything you do, you may have some support, you may not, but it's on you.
I can help you build belief, build confidence to the point where nothing can hurt you because you know exactly who you are. You've faced your demons. You were able to hear all your past traumas. You were able to listen to them. I'm no longer embarrassed. I'm no longer ashamed. Being ashamed is one of the biggest things that kill people nowadays. That's killed them from moving forward. I'm ashamed of myself. Don't ever be ashamed of anything you've done in your life. Face it, fix it, make it better.
If you succeed, every mistake becomes legendary. If you fail, that's just garbage. I think everybody has great stories. Everybody had a lot of mistakes. Everybody have a lot of problems. But very few people listen to you. One day when you become successful, people listen to you, say, wow, you're great. I'm not that great.
You're crazy until you're successful. Then you're a genius. People think you're too obsessed. You're a weirdo. Get a life. Be realistic. People will convince you you're out of your mind, but then once you're successful, they're like, yo, your drive, your tenacity was great. But it's like, yeah, well, where was that back then? You know?
You must take this knowledge that you learn from all this is knowledge. So I'm just trying to give people that strength to go in the archives of your life. Because while you're probably fucked up, it's probably something happened to you in your life. Go through the archives, dig it up, study it, and then use it for yourself.
If I'm getting anxiety or I'm feeling depressed, it's because I'm fucking up on my shit for sure.
Yeah.
Or I'm doing stuff that I shouldn't be doing.
My life isn't their life. They're focused on themselves. God damn, I just got left behind. Why didn't y'all tell me that y'all did it the week before? How come y'all ain't tell me that we was serious about the college shit? Y'all ain't tell me y'all was trying to go to Temple or Drexel? Oh, wait. It's because they're doing what they're supposed to do. Hey, jackass, go sit by yourself and figure it out, because that's where you should be. Lesson learned. Any opportunity given should be taken serious from this point on. Because if not, you can find yourself feeling just like this.
Talk about me so bad, and then I just looked at him. I said, God bless you, sir. He walked past and went down the street, come right back. And he said, you know what, man, I had a bad day. He said, I'm sorry for even
calling you that? He said, because I know you're a human being. He said, would you accept my apology? I said, apology accepted. He went in his pocket and gave me $30 and said, go get you a room and get you something to eat. You know what I mean? I mean, you know.
When it comes to suicides, when it comes to homelessness, when it comes to prisons, the numbers of men in these situations are astronomically higher.
Life is hard. It's always been hard from the beginning, and it will always be hard.
Life is not easy. It is not. Don't try to make it that way. Life's not fair. It never was. It isn't now, and it won't ever be.
You always have to be the person who roots for you before everybody else does.
It's not a bad thing to be unique. It's not a bad thing to be different. It's not a bad thing to be comfortable with yourself, regardless of what everybody else around you is doing.
Life is a long journey of self-acceptance. I think the earlier you can accept your own peculiarities as just part of you, rather than trying to justify them or mold to the archetype that you think is acceptable within your social circle.
Be to yourself. Stay to yourself. Trust nobody. Trust nobody.
Cannot stay in environments where people don't know the true value of you. If you stay in environments where people don't recognize the value of you, you will shrink your gift to the size of what they can stand. I refuse to be small because you think small.
Walk away from anyone or anything that gives you bad vibes. There's no need for explaining yourself. You don't need to feel bad about it. This is your life. You need to make more space for your peace, your happiness, and your mental health. There is no more room for negativity in your future.
All right, know who you are. Know if you're meant to walk shoulder to shoulder, line to line with a group of other men. And if you are, great, wonderful, do it. Be the best at it. But if you're not,
to go through the circumstances that would create that man, which means that if I have unbelievable big dreams and big goals, then I have to go through hard times. It's like hate. The hard times are a requisite for success. And so if you're going through hard times right now, it means that you're on the path to success. And it's not that you're on the wrong path, it's the feeling of being on the right path. And that was when the reality of the situation of there was no escape. There was no one who was going to come to save me. And I couldn't blame my dad. I couldn't blame my mom. I was the one who had chosen this life. But the alternative was that I had to go back to my father, a failure. Here, come here, don't worry about it. I told you this gym stuff, this fitness stuff, this starting your own business, it's for later. Rest of my life, he would have had absolute authority over everything that I did. And that felt like death. And so that was what I ran away from when I was in that moment. Whenever I felt like my back was against the wall and I didn't know what to do, and it felt like the Instagram reels of the motivation weren't going to get me through what I was going through, because no one cared that I was sleeping alone. I had let them know I'm sleeping on the floor, and a month later when you're still sleeping on the floor, everyone's like, don't care. Great. You're pursuing your dream, right? Everybody, when I was sleeping on the gym floor, right? I was the underdog, and everyone, my clients were all like, oh, good for you. You're going after your dream. And they'd see my blanket and my pillow in the corner of the gym, and they knew I was sleeping there. And that everybody was pro me. And then people would come in, they sign up I'm gonna support you, right? And then within 9 months, I had hired people and I had a manager, and I pulled up, and I remember I walked in the lobby, and all the same people were like, boss man's here. Oh, you're not too good for us now, right? And that was when I realized that people want you to do well, but not better than them.
Sign imaginable that they could possibly send you, and because you're so desperate to have people around you and in your life, you continue to go back. You continue to show up to everything they invite you to, knowing what they're saying about you. When you're hanging out with negative, dark, and dysfunctional people, you cannot expect yourself to go to sleep at night and rest. You cannot expect yourself to feel good about your day when you're including negative and dysfunctional people in your day. So what you grew up with them? So what their childhood friends? So what their family? We have a responsibility to walk in the direction of peace. You don't wake up in the morning and negativity, dysfunction, problems, and issues just randomly pop up. These are the people that you have decided to include in your life.
When you start to feel friends around you and the people that you used to be able to speak a common language with start to push back and start to make the quips of, oh, not drinking tonight, yeah? Oh, you must be too cool for us now.
They're insecure. They have a problem with you, and you don't even have a problem with them. They laugh about it, but they're throwing subliminal and very direct messages at you. I see you over there getting money, huh? That person has a problem with the fact that you're getting money. I see you. They're jealous, they're envious, they're insecure, they're threatened by the idea that you're coming up, your career and your life is advancing.
The pushback you are getting is the indicator that you are doing the right thing.
Because they're projecting the things that they know they should be doing that you are doing that they're not doing, and you remind them of that. So even though the mountain that you're climbing is actually a smaller one than the one that you ultimately want to climb, you're actually at the top of their mountain. And so they start tearing you down. On the way up, they root for you, and then when you're at the top, they try and tear you down because you remind them of the dreams that they couldn't accomplish. You quitting drinking, or you staying in to work on your side hustle or your project or the business that you want to launch, the podcast, you might be at the top of their mountain. Now you remind them that they haven't done it. And it's purely a projection of them onto you and has nothing to do with you.
God put people in your life for a reason. Others are there for a season. And it's very important that you recognize